Well, a very warm welcome along to Sportsbet TV. This is Paul Alster back with you, looking ahead to the third and fourth days of the York Ebor Festival on Friday the 20th and Saturday the 21st of August. Some more terrific world-class racing coming up on the Knavesmire this weekend. Well, this piece is being recorded for you early on Thursday afternoon. We haven't seen how the day two selections have gone, but we know that day one started off a bit quiet with the first two not really running as well as expected. They both rather misbehaved, actually. But then we really hit the jackpot, of course, with that tremendous selection in the last race at York on day one on Wednesday. Flaming Rib, a really tasty winner. This one, 16-1 was the SP. I hope you were on for Tom Dascombe, Michael Owen and Pierre-Louis Jamin. Was always prominent, stuck on really well, looked like it was going to get beat, and then really fought its way to the line to score in very brave fashion. So that was a great start to the meeting. That gives us plenty of credit to play with. And we're hoping that Thursday's runners, although one of the three is already a non-runner, so maybe the other two hopefully will go well. And then we have these for you over the Friday and Saturday, 3 on each day. I'm going to get straight on with it. But just to remind you that if you're interested in my thoughts on horses more to the top of the market, of course, on this service at Sportsbet, I'm looking for big each way prices for the most part. Then if you're looking for shorter prices at the head of the market, go check out my new bulletins at freebets.com at YouTube, and you'll be able to keep up with all my messages there. And here, if you're new to my Sportsbet advice, then do press the subscribe button just below this screen, and then you won't miss any of my bulletins going forward. So going forward on now to Friday, day 3 of the Go Racing in Yorkshire Ebor Festival. And the very first race of interest to me is the 3 o'clock at York, the Group 2 Jim Crack Stakes. It's always a great race for 2-year-olds over 6 furlongs. 11 runners are declared, and I think they're anticipated that Richard Hannon's colt, Lusail, will probably be favourite at around 9-4, and he's a good one. He won the July Stakes, the Group 2 at Newmarket. He's got the £3 Group 2 penalty, but again should make a very bold show. Andrew Balding has Berkshire Shadow, who won the Group 2 Coventry Stakes, which is a very high-class race, often produces horses over the years that have gone on to be good horses in the Guineas. He went on to finish second over 7 furlongs in a Group 2 last time out, so a talented horse, Berkshire Shadow. For the North, Ed Bethel has big hopes of Fearby, who won a listed Dragon Stakes and then was second in the Molecombe, but those were both over 5 furlongs. I'm just worried whether he'll prove quite as effective over the extra furlong. And then one that really is worth a second glance is called Vintage Clarets, trained just up the road from York Racecourse by Richard Fahey. Now, this one could have run in the sales race where he would have had an outstanding chance at the meeting. He was, of course, third in the Coventry Stakes behind Berkshire Shadow, but they've decided to come here instead. So I think that they're expecting a big run from Vintage Clarets. But if you follow me on a regular basis, you'll recall that I tipped a horse called Gizzer Sub at Glorious Goodwood, and I'm tipping him again. Gizzer Sub, trained by Kevin Ryan, also a local trainer, and the mount of Kevin Stott. Now, Gizzer Sub is a very promising horse. He was beat just a nose on debut over this course and distance by the very useful Bosch. And then he went on to win a Pontefract 6 furlong conditions race, beating Hello My Darling. And that one has subsequently gone on to be third in Ashanti Group 2, and then was third on the opening day of the Ebor fixture in a hot nursery, of course, won by Flaming Rib, and he was giving weight, so that was a big effort. Now, Gizzer Sub was tipped by me in the Richmond Stakes at Glorious Goodwood, and it was the most ridiculous renewal of that race I think I've ever seen. For a 6 furlong sprint, they went like 2-mile chasers over the first 4 furlongs, and it turned into a 2 furlong sprint. Now, a number of the horses pulled too hard because of the slow pace. One of them was Gizzer Sub, and I think you can ignore his running, even though he was far from disgraced and being beaten less than 3 lengths by Asymmetric, and he was to some degree eased down in the closing stages. Now, remarkably, despite that farce, the 4th horse in the race, Ebro River, trained by Hugo Palmer, has come out and won a Group 1, the Phoenix Stakes in Ireland. So the form looks as if it could turn out, despite everything, to be very good indeed. This time, I'll be shocked if there isn't a solid gallop. And with that just about guaranteed, knowing that this horse is highly regarded, and remembering that Kevin Ryan has won 3 of the last 9 renewals of the Gimcrack, then I think that this horse, Giz Us Up, has got a big chance, and the best odds on offer at the time of this recording, 20-1 each way with Bet365. That'll do for me. Giz Us Up for Kevin Ryan and Kevin Stott. York, 3 o'clock, my first bet on day 3. My second selection on day 3 is in their feature race, which is the Group 1 Nunthorpe Stakes, one of the fastest sprint races in the whole world. And 15 runners go this year over the 5 furlongs. The going is forecast good. We thought before day 1, there might be a bit of rain around. There's only, if anything, been the lightest of drizzles as far as I know. And they're not forecasting much rain, and there's a bit of a breeze, so it could be good ground, maybe even just slightly on the quick side. Now, the interest in this race, amongst other things, is the American star coming over for the race, Golden Pal, trained by Wesley Ward. He could be anything, but we've seen these American horses come over before and not quite cut it against the top European sprinters, and I'm not sure that he will be good enough. The one that is the biggest danger to all, I think, is the French star Seeyouatmidnight, who showed improved form to win the King George Stakes at Glorious Goodwood, the race in which Batarsh eventually bowed out. In that race, Seeyouatmidnight beat Dragon Symbol, who reopposes, beat it 3 lengths. But I'm just wondering if the ground quickens up a bit, whether Seeyouatmidnight will prove quite as effective. I fear it, but I'm not sure I'd want to back it. Now, Dragon Symbol, who ran so well at Glorious Goodwood, in fact, he always runs well, was second in the 6 furlong July Cup, second in the Group 1 Commonwealth Cup as well. He's got a massive chance and is a horse you must fear, but they've gone to the well quite a lot with him this season. And then you've got the horses placed in last year's renewal, Que Amoro, who was second, and Moss Gill, who was third, and they're back for another crack at it. But my selection here is going to be Winter Power. And Winter Power is trained by Tim Easterby in the mount of the Brazilian-born former British champion, Sylvester de Sousa. Now, she's a 3-year-old filly, and fillies have won 6 of the last 10 Nunthorpes. They have a really good record in this race. And she is such a classy sort. She's by Bungle in the Jungle, who was terrifically fast. She's won 6 of her 12 races so far, all of them at 5 furlongs. So she is really pure speed, but she's also got this great attitude as well. And she's already won twice at York this season over the course and distance. She is improving fast. She was hugely impressive when she beat Moss Gill here last time out. She's got the 114 rating, which puts her on a rating high enough to be a legitimate winner of this race. And she will jump out there. And while the American horse might go off super quick, I expect Winter Power to be up there, possibly sitting 2nd or 3rd. And I think she might pick up Golden Pal at the furlong pole, and she will see it out. And we've already seen Tim Easterby's horses in good form at the meeting. He won the opening sprint handicap, and I know this horse is much higher regarded, and they've got very, very high hopes for her. So Winter Power, I think, is an each-way price as well at 11-2 each way, a general offer, and I think potentially she could be a star. So she'll do for me. Winter Power in the Nunthorpe at York on Friday at 3:35. And then just a few words about the last race at York on Friday there, 5:10, which is a mile, 3-year-old handicap, 16 runners. It is a very tough race because with all these 3-year-old handicaps, so many of them are improving. So many of them have been hiding their light a little bit under a bushel. And I think that could well prove to be the case. One that is a real unknown quantity is Charlie Appleby's Royal Fleet. He's only ever run 3 times and he's won them all. So quite how good he is, we don't know. He won on his handicap debut at Newmarket last time out and has gone up £7 for that. He's the forecast 7-2 favourite. You've got to respect him. But I was super impressed with a horse called WISHAAH. And here's my selection. WISHAAH for Owen Burrows and Jim Crowley, another former champion jockey, on board this one. Only had the 3 runs. It won on its debut at Kempton over 7 furlongs. on June the 2nd. So it really is pretty new to the game. It's only been racing 10 or 11 weeks, but it's already won a Kempton 7-furlong novice stakes. Then it was second at Newcastle in another 7-furlong novice stakes on the all-weather. And to be fair, it won its race, beat its 10 rivals on its part of the track, but overall finished second. It was a bit unlucky. So it comes here a little bit unlucky not to be unbeaten. And then it hacked up on its handicap bow at Newmarket on July the 23rd, which was on good to firm ground. So any drying ground, I think, will help WISHAAH. It won there off 89 and it's gone up £6. Now, I think there could be more to come. And the way it quickened and won at Newmarket, for me, suggests that WISHAAH could still be ahead of the handicapper. And at 15-2 offered each way, that's with Sky Bet, and they're offering 6 places. I think WISHAAH is going to be very, very prominent, and I think it's got a big chance of winning that final race on Friday at York, the 5:10. So those are my 3 for Friday, whether you do them in singles, doubles, or go for the round robin or something similar, patent, it's up to you. And it's a similar story for Saturday, 3 selections, straight on to them. The 225 race is one of the toughest 3-year-old handicaps of the year. It's over the Ebor course and distance, over 1 3/4 miles, and there are 22 runners. And the fact that they're betting 7-1 the field for the Melrose handicap suggests just how open it is. It nearly always is a wide open race. And you've got so many horses that are open to massive amounts of improvement, some of them stepping up in trip as well. Now, 7-1 the field are the odds I'm seeing on the odds comparison sites at the time of this recording on early Thursday afternoon. And Dershan is the horse for William Haggas, who I think most firms will have as favourite, a very good second at Ascot last time out. And William Haggas with a very good record in this race. Imperial Sun for the Gosdens is another one. He won a Wolverhampton 12-furlong littler race so easily last time. And the fact that the Gosdens go straight up in class to this level suggests they rate him highly. But the interesting thing in this race is that there are a lot of horses I mentioned trying this trip, and you're not sure if they're going to stay, especially as they're likely to go like the Clappers in the early stages with 22 of them. And because of that, there's a horse here that I think is guaranteed to stay and like the ground. And that is a horse called Summer's Night, who is trained by the super shrewdy Sir Mark Prescott and the mount of Luke Morris. Now, this horse is a typical Sir Mark Prescott improver. So many of his horses have a quiet 2-year-old start and then start off into handicaps at 3. That's pretty much the story with Summer's Night. Sir Mark's made it his stock in trade for over 30 years or more doing this type of thing. And this horse has progressed through handicaps, winning 4 of its last 5 races, including 3 of them at 1 3/4 miles. So he will stay and has been improving each and every time. It won off 63 at Doncaster in mid-June. It then won off 80 at Foss-Las in August, on August the 12th, which was its most impressive win. It's gone up a further £8 now to 88, but I'm convinced there could be more to come. And allowing for the normal rough and tumble and the argy-bargy you get in these big field races, if he gets a clear run, I think Summer's Night is going to run a massive race for Sir Mark. I think he's had his eye on this for a while. So 10-1 each way on the early betting, for 5 and 6 places with some firms. Paddy Power and Betfair amongst those offering 10-1. So my choice in the Melrose handicap, the 225 on Saturday at York, is Summer's Night for Sir Mark Prescott and Luke Morris. And then I'm going to take you on to the big race on Saturday, the big race for many people at the whole meeting. And it is one of the most valuable handicap races in Europe, if not the most valuable. £500,000. And now that is a lot of dosh. And you can imagine for £500,000 for the Ebor handicap, one of the most famous races in the calendar with 24 runners. So many trainers and owners have been plotting their way to this race, all top yards involved, as well as some of the very shrewd smaller yards as well, plotting horses up to get here on the right handicap mark, maybe saving a bit here and there, you know, a little bit of gamesmanship. And as ever, you can take your pick, because this is a race that over the years has been won by some favourites, but there's also been a few very big prize winners as well. Now, Saeed bin Saror for Godolphin has Live Your Dream, who is a horse that quite a few firms are putting in as the early favourite at around 13-2, 6-1, 13-2. There's been an anti-post gamble in the last few days on a horse of William Haggas's. Now, it's a very interesting gamble because it's on Hamish. This horse hasn't run for 428 days. So if he's fit enough to win this after such an absence, it will be a stupendous training performance. And this Hamish did win over course and distance. I think he won the Melrose back in 2019. So he's a horse with a lot of ability. Sonny Boy Liston comes over from Ireland for Johnny Murter, whose horse is carrying all before them at the moment. He was third, by the way, to Japan in the Group 3 Ormond Stakes earlier in the season, and he won a listed race at Limerick. We've got Il Arab, another one for William Haggas, who won 6 on the bounce prior to being outclassed in the Group 2 Hardwick Stakes behind the brilliant Wonderful Tonight. And then we got last year's winner. Can't forget Fujairah Prince for Roger Varian, a £6 higher than last year, but it looks almost certain they have planned for a repeat bid for this race. It would be an immense performance to win it 2 years running. And then, of course, one of my old favourites, Yukon Glen for Jolly Jim Goldie. He's got the top weight, but he's so classy, you couldn't rule out a big show from him either. But having given it plenty of consideration, the horse I go for is Mount Leinster, trained by the champion Irish jumps trainer, Willie Mullins, also a brilliant trainer of flat horses, and the mount of Jason Watson, who of course parted company with Roger Charlton recently, and since going back freelance has started to kick home quite a few winners. Now, Mount Leinster is completely unexposed at this trip and in this class. He's been off the course for 314 days, so over 10 months absent. Willie, though, is a master at getting them ready. And he won first time out last season, this horse, you should note. That was at Galway, over a mile and a half in a maiden. He then went on to finish 6th in the Galway Hurdle. He's very classy and versatile. He then went to Killarney. He won at Listowel, and he also won at the Curragh in October last year. He won at Listowel in September of last year. Now, Willie Mullins is a very direct interviewee. So many of the trainers, they kind of talk in stock in phrase, you know, you don't get very much out of them, like Aidan O'Brien as an example. You know, you can literally write the script of what he's going to say in an interview. You know, he's a lovely horse, you know, he does everything at home, and you know, he's from a great family and all the rest of it. We're delighted with him. Willie Mullins tends to be a little bit more interesting, and he gave an interview to the Racing Post earlier in the week when it wasn't certain which of his 6 runners were going to get into the Ebor. As it is, this is his only one. And of Mount Leinster, this is what he said to the Racing Post. He said, "We've had the Ebor in mind for Mount Leinster, and he seems to be very good. I'm really happy with him." Now, for me, from Willie Mullins, that's as good as you'd want, really. So again, given luck in running and things going his way in the hustle bustle of a 24-runner world-class handicap, if things fall his way, I think Mount Leinster will go very well. The best odds I've seen is 16-1 each way with Ladbrokes. I expect they'll be offering 5, even 6 places. Everybody will be wanting your business. So shop around and have a look. But for me, Mount Leinster each way, 16-1 to win the great race. That is the Ebor handicap at York Saturday, 3:35. And then just one more for you. The third and final selection on Saturday is the York 4:45. Another very, very trappy race. I certainly pick the tougher races to try and find winners. This is a 1.25 mile handicap, 4:45, 17 runners. A lot of the form centres around the John Smith's Cup that was run over the course and distance last month, a race in which Cocker Loren was beaten only ahead, finishing 2nd. He's gone on to run well since then, when 3rd at Goodwood behind Migration, who reopposes on Saturday as well. Now, in that John Smith's Cup, Dawan was 4th. He's gone up £5. Fisherable was 5th, beaten just over 2 lengths. He's off the same mark. Good Birthday was 9th, and Lukanda was 11th. But the horse that finished 3rd there was Strait of HORMUZ, and here's my recommendation. Trained by Jed O'Keefe and the mount of the excellent Andrea Atseni. Now, if you watch a replay of the John Smith's Cup, you will see Straits of HORMUZ come charging through inside the final furlong to hit the front about 50, 60 yards out. And then he was just caught on the line, just run out of it, beaten a head and a neck, I think. Maybe if they'd waited a little longer, he might have got there. So I think they'll have learned from that, and they will be producing him very late. So if you've got a dodgy ticker, you might just want to take an extra pill before you watch this horse run on Saturday at 4:45. He will be getting there late, I promise you. And I just think he'll be that touch fresher than his old rival Cockalorum, who's had that subsequent run at Goodwood. So Strait of HORMUZ is the choice. There are no prices up at the moment, so I'm having to guess the market. I may be right or miles out, but I think around 9-1 each way in such a hot handicap won't be a million miles from the mark for 5 or 6 places, and that is Strait of HORMUZ, estimated at 9-1 each way at York in the 4:45 on Saturday. So 6 selections for you off the final 2 days of the York Ebor fixture, a meeting at which we've already got off to a flyer with a 16-1 winner on day 1. Let's hope day 2, 3, and 4 all do us justice. Remember, if you're looking for shorter priced horses, you can check those out at freebets.com on their YouTube channel, where I'm offering my thoughts nowadays every weekend. But for now, here at Sportsbet, from me, Paul Alster, thanks very much for taking the time to listen. Best of luck. Let's hope they run well over the weekend at York. Bye-bye for now.